Welcome to Cinema Obscura. In this episode, we're going to check out a couple of movies from the 2000s, Artifacts and The Trouble with Men and Women. The first film we're going to look at is Artifacts from 2009. This movie is tagged with numerous categories on IMDb, but I feel it fits best as a mystery and a thriller. It's a Belgian film written and directed by Giles Daoust and Emmanuel Jespers. While Jespers has disappeared from the industry, Daoust is still active, mostly as a producer. The only cast member I recognize is Mary Stockley. She was in the 2012 version of The Woman in Black. She was also in I Spit on Your Grave and V for Vendetta, as well as a number of other features. I have Artifacts on DVD, and I have seen it before, but it's probably been over 10 years or more since I've seen it, and I really didn't remember too much about it. The basic premise behind the movie is that a group of friends appear to be being murdered by their own doubles, with a strange metallic object being found embedded in each of the victims' bodies. Kate, played by Mary Stockley, is the person who the story revolves around. She and her ex-boyfriend Mike need to try and figure out what's going on before they end up being killed as well. The only two characters that have any amount of significant screen time are Kate and Mike. The rest come and go almost as quickly as we meet them, with the exception of Carl, someone who has a deeper knowledge of what's going on. Mary Stockley does a pretty good job in the movie with her character, but the rest of the acting is basically average to subpar.
Mike? I used my key. That one? Hello?
Kate?
Yeah, Mike, it's me.
What are you doing here?
I have to talk to you. Come up.
Thank you.
What are you doing here?
Did you get my messages?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's new?
You lost your job, Mike! You don't work too hard!
Hey! Hey, open the door. But let's talk about it, Kate. You know how much I love you.
Come on, baby.
You never call me baby.
Open the fucking door!
In one of the reviews on IMDb, someone said it was made for roughly $100,000. I can believe that, as the film definitely has that appearance. Some of the camera work is twitchy, where a steady cam, or at least the camera being mounted on a tripod, would have helped a lot. The movie has an interesting storyline with people being killed by their doppelgangers, but we only get a couple hints behind the true reason for the murders. They probably should have fleshed the story out a little further. Sometimes ambiguity in a film works, but in this case, I was left with a feeling that the writers came up with a great idea, but weren't really sure where to go with it or how to end it. I was rather impressed at how they made sure the articles that Kate was looking at weren't simply the lorem ipsums, but that they actually paid enough attention to make them relevant to the story, and that the internet search results were also relevant. Artifacts is rated R and is 75 minutes in length. At the time of posting, it had a 3.5 rating on IMDb with 365 ratings. When I first saw it way back when, I gave it 4 stars, and upon rewatch, I didn't see anything that would make me change that rating either up or down. Let's move on to our second film, 2005's The Trouble with Men and Women. IMDb categorizes it as a drama/romance. Similar to the first film on this video, this is a European film. In addition, it was also written and directed by the same person, in this case Tony Fisher. This is his only feature-length film. According to Fisher, he had shown a short film he had done entitled To Hell with Love to a couple producers, and they liked it enough to give him enough funds to do a longer film. This is a British film, and I'm not really up on my familiarity with actors from across the pond, so none of them look familiar to me, though the two main stars, Joe McFadden and Kate Ashfield, do have a decent number of acting credits under their belt. The film starts with the character of Matt, played by McFadden, and his current girlfriend breaking up, and she decides to leave the country to find herself. Matt, being stupidly in love, can't get past the breakup, even failing to throw out anything she had left behind, including clothing and other items. His friends then convince him to play the field, and he has a few one-night stands, but they don't fulfill him as he wants to have a steady girlfriend. The story revolves around 3 characters, Matt, Kate, and Kate's boyfriend, Vinnie. Vinnie and Kate have a complicated relationship. They've been together for 6 years, but Vinnie can't make that next step despite gentle prodding from Kate. Meanwhile, as stated earlier, Matt is searching for that special girl and isn't having any luck. Vinnie's growing indifference to Kate has the obvious consequences. I saw another review of the film, and they made it appear that this type of film is more common in Great Britain. Not romance, just the way the movie was written and acted. And it was implied it really wouldn't play well for an American audience. And for me, it really didn't.
I always thought I would remember New York vividly, so I didn't take any picture. I didn't want to look like a tourist. But it's a shame, because I've almost forgotten everything.
Whereabouts did you live when you were there?
Oh, a few places, Brooklyn, Manhattan. But the best place was probably this flat 2 blocks away from the Empire State Building. This is a morbid thought, but... when you die, when do you stop thinking?
Oh, I don't know.
Like, okay, imagine you have a heart attack, yeah? You drop dead because your body stops functioning. But that doesn't mean your mind stops functioning too. I don't know, it doesn't just go out like your light's been turned off. You must still be capable of hearing things or thinking things, seeing things.
Yeah, no, maybe.
I think you're all too obsessed with death.
Well, I'm not obsessed with it. It's just been on my mind.
When I was a kid, right, we went on this camping holiday to France. I can remember it was a really hot summer, and the campsite was in the banks of this river, and that's where I wanted to hang out. You know what kids are like about water. Well, I was only about 6 at the time, and my mum, she was pretty worried because it was a really strong current, and she said, you could play in the banks, but don't go anywhere near the water. And that's what I did for like a couple of days, till this other little guy turns up, this little French kid. He must have been about the same age as me. And we just kind of looked at each other, you know, like we couldn't speak each other's language, and I was pretty shy back then. And we didn't talk or anything. But he had this football that he was playing about with. And I could remember thinking what my mother had said about the water, thinking they ought to be warned, but didn't say a word. Don't know why. Then the inevitable happened. His ball, it went in the water. He jumped in to get it, and
I think your story was very sad.
it's just one of those things that happens, you know. It haunts your memory.
Yes. It's probably one thing that's made you what you are.
There's nothing really too groundbreaking in this movie. It plods along pretty much as you would expect, and there aren't any surprises. And the ending is obvious. I'm not going to say what it is, but you already know. Regarding the acting, McFadden broods his way through with the occasional bout of happiness. Ashfield is pretty good with her character, displaying the growing unhappiness that she has with her long-time relationship with Vinnie. Mathew Delamere, who played Vinnie, is just kind of there. Nothing really remarkable about his performance at all. The film has a few sex scenes, some nudity, and a little bit of alcohol and drug use. The Trouble with Men and Women isn't rated, and it's only 74 minutes long. At the time of posting, it had a 4.9 rating on IMDb, with only 132 ratings. The majority of the ratings are at 5 stars. I gave it 2 stars. It has nothing to do with it being a romance movie. It's that there really wasn't anything that really stood out to me. Thanks for watching episode 2 of Cinema Obscura. If you're interested in checking out either of the movies on this video, they are both available for streaming, or perhaps you may be able to find a used copy of the DVD somewhere. I'd also really appreciate it if you could hit the like button down below. It really helps, and if you know someone who might enjoy this content, please point them in this direction. Word of mouth is the best publicity. Also, hit the subscribe and alert buttons if you would like to know when the next video drops. And be sure to check out my Patreon page, Cinema Obscura, where I'll be posting at least one bonus single movie episode per week. And you might as well stop by my sister channel, Horror Obscura, where I'll be checking out a couple lesser known horror films. The cool thing is, if you decide to join the Patreon page, you will get access to both the single movie reviews I do for both channels. It's like 2 for Tuesday, but every day is Tuesday. Thanks again for checking out the video, and have the best day ever.